happy Saturday. It is your girl, Lo Main.
And I am the encouraging Esther Jade.
And it is another Saturday. Jesus, I can't talk. And you are listening to a Girl What
podcast.
We have a amazing episode in store for you today. And it is called Bruh, You Good?
Yes, and I'm so excited for this because I've been wanting to do this for such a long time. I have been harassing one of our guests for like a good part of a year to come on here and do this. So we're going to head right into the What's the Tea, Sis segment, and that's titled Are Men Lonely? Right? So we're going to introduce our wonderful guests, starting with Dr. Nick Williams, who I know from Black Alumni Weekend at VCU. Dr. Williams, could you give everybody an introduction of yourself?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Dr. Nick Williams. I'm originally from DC, so those from the 202.
Chocolate City.
The DMV. What's
Welcome
up?
to DC.
Sorry.
No, you good. What I do, I am both faculty and an administrator. I'm the director of alumni engagement for VCU Schools of Nursing and Pharmacy. I teach in our Men of Color initiative, where we help our freshmen men of color get the professional development etiquette skills so they can be successful both in school and out of school. And then I'm also
Dr. Good.
And Dr. Good, what's up?
Yeah, which I'm trying to get him on here too with the VCU men developing men of color. So let's put a pause because I forgot because I'm so excited. I jumped right over our celebrations for September. September is known for National Hispanic Latino Heritage Month and as well as National Guide Dog Month. So let's continue back to our introduction of our guests. We have Brittany Watson and Sheldon Jones. We've had a whole entire man in the building, and I mean this in every sense. No. Let me back that up. Brittany and Sheldon, give everybody an introduction of yourselves and why you're here today and your company.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go first. I'm Brittany Watson, and obviously I am not a man. But I am from the 757, so shout out to 757. And I am the founder of Unfold Incorporated. It's a nonprofit that we started in 2013. But as you know, not 2013, 2023.
Okay.
But as you know, things happen in perfect timing. So now we are here, and now we are started and getting moving. It is focused on Black men and mental health. We're looking to not only make therapeutic connections, but enhance community engagement, get more Black men into mental health profession, and also do a little research, because how can we find out more about us if we don't research us specifically?
Yes, love it.
What more can I say?
I don't know. You could just introduce yourself.
I am Sheldon Jones, co-founder of Unfold, and I appreciate all things beautiful. So.
Oh, good. So, okay, we have a whole entire man in the building, and I mean that in every sense of the word. He came straight out of the South Bronx, served with this country as a United States Marine, and spent over 30 years doing the work that most people won't even talk about, getting men to actually deal with stuff. All right, he is the founder of 5 Tower LLC and Forged in Fire Men's Ministry, a John Maxwell certified leadership trainer and coach, and a published author. Twice over, honey. And we're talking Forged in Fire, a 21-day men's devotion, and Forged to Lead, a man's playbook and roadmap to growth and legacy. He writes books and builds men, period. And listen, this man has been married to his queen Yolanda for 42 years, 3 kids, 3 grandchildren, a legacy well into the making. He moved from New York to Richmond, Virginia in 2018, and he's brought every bit of that Bronx fire with him. His mission, helping men come out of hiding, face the mountains they've been carrying alone, and step fully into who God created them to be as husbands, fathers, leaders, and legacy builders. Girl, what? Please welcome Amerigo Torres Jr.
Yay.
As well as our other guests.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course.
We are excited to have you all here. And I just want to let y'all know, I'm laughing because you said, what more can I say? And I was about to bust out singing. We have a tendency to start singing. We're those people. But if you say stuff, we'll start busting out singing. So we just want to give y'all that preface. So that's why, it will happen. I had to contain myself.
I feel right at
home. So yes, we
works.
definitely are those people. But we definitely want to jump into the conversation again. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm looking forward to this as well. And I know Esther is, just also because we both are raising Black men. So
Yes.
it's definitely imperative that we get these conversations going now and not be proactive instead of reactive. All right, so first question: what does male loneliness look like in real life and online?
Anyone can start. Make sure you say your name because not everyone will know when we're all airing on the radio.
I'll kick it off with just and this is Dr. Nick. Isolation, and when I say isolation, I mean it's both in the physical sense, but also in the mental sense. For men, especially, we tend to hold back what we feel is most vulnerable and sacred to us, until we can find a space where it feels safe to unleash, to release the fullness of ourselves, the good and the bad. Especially as Black men, we literally put ourselves in our own prison in our minds until we can really sense safety, because we really haven't been given that space to feel safe. So I'll start there.
Wow, that was a good one.
I know.
I think this is Sheldon. I think I've experienced bits of that from a personal experience. I would say loneliness feels like a looking for something to get out, or like release, or like let me just like get this up off me. Like I've always been like the solution base. So it's like, all right, I'm feeling a little weird right now. Like what could I do? So I would say that's how loneliness looks. It's trying to find ways to overcome it, get rid of it.
Yeah, shake it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Americo. I wanted to add that, you know, unfortunately, one of the biggest challenges that we have in the men's community, especially the Black and brown, is that we have a culture of identifying men in a way that is not, in a way that doesn't really allow them to grow into their fullness. Because, you know, one of the things that I share with a lot of times when I speak to young men is that I tell them, I said, the world has more people in prison on their mind than those that are actually in prison, because their mindset is not allowing them to identify their challenges. And then, worst part of all, is that there's not a safe place where they can talk. Because most people, to be honest with you, most men, the way we are, we just come out and say, yo, just get over it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Handle your business. And that might work like 1 or 2 times, but then after a while, when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you find out you all jacked up and you're like, how do I go back? Because I don't know how to go forward.
That's good. That's actually the reason we started Unfold. You know, you think about an onion, it's like, you know, like how do you peel back those layers to get rid of the stigma of therapy, you know, but and sort of like, let's do it. You know what I mean? Unfold, like it's very live.
And you know, what I see in the classroom, what I've even seen myself and my friends, my Black and brown friends, it's often it's tied to like, how do we sort of, you know, let go of shame, that feeling of shame that erases or erodes our masculinity and how it's both perceived and how we perceive it, how we're taught on what it means to be enough as a man, and then you had on the layer of identity as a insert Black, brown, Hispanic, Latino, like whatever it may be, you add all those layers of identity and those cultural nodes that allows us to say, this is what it means to be a good Black man, is to be strong, to like not show your scars. In fact, I've been rewatching the show Power. And see, I love watching film and TV shows because it is, you know, art, you know, and you know, portraying what we really see in reality. And we watch the characters, you know, juggle between masculinity and the performance of it in different spaces. And that is something that I think we see more and more in men across the board, is that pressure and the feeling of shame, and how do I let go of shame without diminishing my masculinity of being enough.
So why can men have friends and still feel alone?
That's good.
Because when you're not living through your identity authentically and in full, you know, you never really trust how people show up.
That's fair.
Good.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Go ahead.
I was gonna be very
Yeah,
blunt.
no. I'll be honest with you. I really think social media has a lot to do with that, because you can actually put up a front and make an
Be whoever you wanna
appearance
be.
that you're stoic
Yeah.
when you really busted. You know what I'm saying? So I can look great, and and unfortunately we have a society and a community and a culture, and even church sometimes plays this role, where that you just gotta fake it till you make
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? And we all hear that one. And it is very interesting in that area. That's because when we find out that we need help, there's no help. And if there is help, it's like shallow. It's nothing real deep, because they don't really, to truth is, they don't really want to go deep. Because they've been burned so many times
Right.
before that I said, I'm not going to go through that again. So for that, I just just keep it internally, and then you have the poor habits and the poor things and that happens and the results of it and everything like that, where you're going to really have to, the thing about it is that one of the things that I really try to do more than anything is really actively listen to the cat, because he will tell you, but most of us don't want to hear it, because that's going to cost you. Because if you tell me you're really going through this now,
You're absorbing that.
That's something on you to handle too.
Exactly.
You don't know what to do next.
and so a lot of brothers, a lot of men are like, I'm already carrying a lot.
I was going to say they're not
I
ready.
don't, I ain't got time to carry you too.
Capacity.
But we need to help carry each other, and it don't happen. It's interesting. At 99, a woman can be hurt, and most men will try to help her. But if a man is hurt, nobody knows. So there's nobody there to help. And it's like, I'm like, it's really it's a battle. I've been in the men's ministry for over almost going on 40 years. And let me tell you, the pain is just as deep and as hard in the church as it is out in the street. Because they're hiding.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're hiding. They know when to say the hallelujah. They know when to, clap. They know what to do. And then they walk out to the same mess, and then nobody knows what they're dealing with.
Do you think that's part of the performative, performing
Absolutely.
masculinity?
It's definitely, it's a mix of both what we learn and what we witness.
Okay.
For some men, it's based on what men we're around, growing up from our adolescence into adulthood. It's also from in many ways the performance to attract who we're drawn to, male or female. Either way, it's the innate desire to feel like I have it all together. I can carry the weight that's on the mantle of manhood, of masculinity. And you see it even in young ages with young men when they start going from like the age of like 8 to like 12. You really start seeing that shift of like, when they first fall down and hurt themselves, you start seeing them hold back those tears. They're like, no, I'm a big boy. I can handle that fall. And you start seeing them continue to do that. Like I've even recognized it in myself as a man, as a 34-year-old man, of like, there's some things I'm like, I could take it to the chest. But at some point you start feeling, I'm like a duck. I look like I'm pristine, perfect on the outside, water, going through the water, but like people don't see how much I'm working double time, triple time, just to move through the water, something that should be innate and natural to me. And sometimes you have to take that pause and know when to take that pause, like, I need to breathe for a second. But I also need someone to like, if I might give myself that permission to be like, dude, give yourself that moment to breathe.
Well, speaking of that, which pressures do you think hit men hardest?
That's a lot.
I guess it's different stages of life requires different things. I don't know. One thing that's really big on my like to-do list, like my plan for my family is like, being 100% like debt free and like, like financially secure for like all them people that live in my house. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like that's the, and it's not a burden because I'm not afraid of hard work, but that's something that sort of weighs you down a little bit, especially at this 38 years of age. And I'm like, okay, now we're getting into it. Now we're buying homes. Now we're buying nice cars. Now we're getting this land. Like now, so it's like that's the currently. A few years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they didn't have a care in the world. They didn't care about anything. So, back to the previous question, it was hard for me to feel like that, I guess that loneliness, because I didn't, nothing to care for. Like, you know, I'm living, you know. Now, it's like, how do we provide?
Yeah.
It's one of the things, like, how do we make it happen? Forever, though. Yeah.
Any other pressures that you think that hit men hardest? You can just take one for right now, America.
You know, really, listen, there's enough in life that list is long. And the challenge is if you're not clear on your identity and you're not clear on your destiny, all those mountains are going to crush you. All those mountains are going to crush you. And so, you know, I grew up in the South Bronx with the, you know, welfare mentality, gangs, you know, drugs, alcohol, fatherlessness, you know, mom, you know, ruling with an iron fist, you know, and actually, you know, I grew up in a culture where they call Father's Day the Day of the Dog. And so that's what I grew up with. And, you know, I got married that way, and I remember laying on my wife's lap and crying, telling her I don't think I can be the father or the husband you want me to be because I don't know what that looks like. And that is what we're seeing today more than ever. The fatherlessness, where if you can't be a father until you're a son first, and if you can't be a son, that's stolen from you.
Yeah, who shows you?
You know what I'm saying? It's stolen from you. My dad not being there, you know, there was a time I used to think a part-time dad was better than one not being there at all. Now that I'm older, I realize that sometimes that doesn't always work out to be the case too. You know, and but there came a time in my 30s that I decided to be accountable for myself. That was the key. I had to make a decision. I had to stop blaming everybody but myself and just take accountability.
That's good.
And I took it, and I just, the biggest key that happened was that I started surrounding myself with the right men. Fathers.
Yeah.
Men that stood to fight. You know, they were there in the hustle, and they were there through the struggle. You know, and they kept it real with me. They told me, you know, what really was going down, what's really happening, you know, and how to fight right. You know, and that was the turning point of my marriage, because I, you know, at that time I had my son, and there was no way he was going to be fatherless. There was no way he was going to be fatherless. So I needed to do that. So, you know, I think the biggest struggle, I'll be honest with you, is we allow too many men to make excuses for their lack of commitment and their lack of, you know, accountability.
Well, Americo, thank you so much for that. We are going to continue this conversation after we come back because that is a very, very, very good topic. Yeah. So y'all stay tuned. We are going to be back with this wonderful panel.
Yes,
see you in
so
just
much
a moment.
More. Thank you.
Hey y'all, and we are back with Girl What Podcast, and today's episode is called Bruh, You Good? So if you are just joining us, we are, in our second segment, Love Baby, Another Grown Folks Business, and we are here with a wonderful panel today, and this subtopic is titled Men Healing Together. So, Esther, can you go ahead and give us some of the questions that we will be asking?
Yes, we're back with our guests, Dr. Nick Williams, Brittany Watson, and Sheldon Jones of Unfold Inc., and Americo Torres of Five Towers LLC. So our first question is, what is the difference between sharing and asking for help?
I've always been a talker. I've never been the one to suppress how I feel or like anything for that matter. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But if I need something like emotionally, my mom is amazing, right? I had a stepdad that didn't work out, but like my mom, bro, like all-star. Like legit all-star, yeah, so I don't even know how that would I'm very
Dr. Nick or Americo?
I'm gonna answer the question with the question and then
Okay.
a follow-up response. Because it's the same thing between like what's the difference between honesty and transparency. Both get to the truth, but one part is the full truth, and the other part it's a part of the picture, but it's not the full picture. And I think for a lot of men, it's very easy for us to be transparent. If we're asked a really direct question, "How are you feeling today?" "Fine." "Okay, bro. What's really stressing you out right now? Like, be honest with me." To be honest, right now, honestly, is just trying to juggle work, being the only black male in the office and everything like that. I mean, I'm making good money, but like, it's a lot to carry because my head is always on a swivel.
Right.
I'm trying to feel like, do I really fit in? Do people really appreciate what I bring to the table? Am I constantly being judged? Am I going to get let go of my job? What's gonna happen? Can I really handle the fires that are coming my way that I can see, that I can't see? So honestly, I'm a mixed bag.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm good. But that's the honest truth. So I think that's, to answer that question, it's I think a lot of men are transparent if they're asked the direct question, but are we really honest? Not really, because we're not really given the space to be honest, and or there's no acknowledgement of like, hey, this is a safe space for you to be fully honest. Like, I won't judge you. I won't, strip away your masculinity of like, you're not man enough if you're honest with like how, if you're not good, if you're not fully good, I won't judge you on that. And I think a lot of people, when they ask men how you're doing, they're not really asking the right question to get to the honest truth.
I'll let it all out.
And I mean, I think that's honestly a piggyback, because sometimes, just like Merck was saying, people don't know what to do with that answer. So by asking a surface level question, you can get a surface level answer. But when you ask somebody, hey, now how are you really doing? They break it down, and either you don't have the capacity or don't know how to even address it. It's kind of like oh, well, everybody freeze, and it's like okay, I'm just gonna run away. Have a good day,
Yeah.
So I think that's also, that brings up the art of kind of communication, and sometimes of what's a big part of things that I think that we need to do to continue to build up just Black and brown populations, or everybody in general. We need to learn how to communicate better.
And you also got to recognize too, with any person, no matter who it is, male, female, whatever it may be, you don't know what kind of experience they've had before with being honest in spaces about what they're going through. Because you never know if they were honest at one time and they were told,
Get over it. Right.
I've been told that before, and that completely shut me down. Like, well, I can't be fully honest with this person, so surface level it is, because that's not a safe space. That's why, like, that added question of like, look, it's a safe space. You can tell me whatever is on your chest. I won't judge. I promise. That will allow a man to fully open up, because they're like, okay, I can just take the weight off my shoulders and just lay it down.
Americo, did you want to?
You're killing me. I love this. No, because the thing I wanted to share was sharing, actually dumping. You know what I'm saying? Asking for help is revealing vulnerability.
Yeah.
That is not something that's very easy for most men.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So, because it's going to require intentional listening, active listening. You know, because there have been many times I've been in a conversation, that one word that cat brought out, I was like, it kept ruminating in my mind. I'm like, what is that? Where is that coming from? And then you ask deeper questions. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is that when you go there, there's going to be a level of expectation. And when that level of expectation is not met, then the pain is deepened.
Yeah.
And that becomes, now it becomes harder. I mean, I'm working with this guy who has PTSD, and I mean, I just gonna have to ride with him until I get in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, he's got major levels of hurts all over, and I'm like, I'm just telling him, I just keep talking to him because he needs somebody to talk to.
You're peeling back the layers.
Pulling back the onion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the man cries, oof, because although he's hurt.
I love a good cry.
Yes, I was going to say, it's so therapeutic.
You brought up a really important point, though. A lot of people aren't patient enough and willing to go through the long haul for men to get to the space of honesty. Most people give up like after one or two tries, like, oh, you're just hard-headed, you don't want to open up. And I think when men see someone give up on them, that brings them back to like their young boy self.
Reinforces.
Because 9 times out of 10, most men will feel some level of abandonment in some kind of way, because they've seen a male figure not show up for them. And from a man-to-man perspective, that just reiterates that internal voice of like, I'm not enough. I'm not enough like for someone to want to be in the ditch with me for a long time and be okay with that, to sit there with me, just to sit there and listen. I'm not enough for someone to want to wait for me to be able to get to where I feel comfortable and I feel strong enough to stand on my own. That comes from like, even when you have a partner, you know, is your partner willing to sit with you in the wallow in the peaks for long enough? And some people just don't have the capacity to do that, and or recognize maybe I'm not the one to be able to sit there, but I can be the one to be the bridge to help them get someone that can sit there with them.
That's good.
That's why therapy is so important. Like my partner, she knows we're both in therapy, and that helps me go to the depths that I need to. So when I come up, I have the language to use to say, hey, this is what hurt, but this is why it hurt the way that it did, and this is what I need your help with, and this is what I don't need your help with. This is how I need you to speak to me, because if you speak in this way, you're used to speaking, you know, to your girls in this way, but like that doesn't resonate with me. That actually causes me to recede into like my protective space where I become more guarded. So we don't have the language, but also we don't have the persistence and the consistency of people that are willing to sit with us in those valleys when we're trying to figure out what language we need to use to talk about what we're really going through.
I kind of have a side question for you, Dr. Nick. What about those who are in relationships where they're trying to get their male partner to go to therapy and they won't go? Because they recognize that they can't shoulder that, they need more help than what they have that capacity to give.
It's going to start with like the questions, like for a lot of men, it's in ways it's kind of control and power. When we talk about just being a human being, for men and for women, how we view power and dynamics, how we view agency. And for a lot of men, when we feel our agency is being perverted, when we feel our agency is being minimalized, that makes us feel like we're less than. Because for masculinity, the lens of masculinity, it's that sense of agency allows us to know that I have some things I can control. Because I'm spiraling, but at least I know I got this under control. That's my safety. And for anyone that's going through mental challenges like depression, I've been through that, suicide ideation, when people try to intervene themselves without recognizing and reading the space, that causes a spiraling because we're feeling out of control right now.
Love that. So what changes in a relationship when a man builds brotherhood? And that could be any relationship.
I think an outlet is built. Camaraderie. Cool things to do. Golf. I've stepped into golf probably the past 2 years, and I go with my dogs and we smoke cigars and drink prosecco, and it's a fun time.
Hey.
You know,
Pinkies out.
no, hand on the bottle. Everybody have their own bottle.
Okay, take it to the head.
Please don't judge me, but it's
Take it to the
my outlet. I've built a community, so yeah.
Judgment free. That's the best way to be, right?
I think that what happened. Like it's community.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and brotherhood is so needed because you want to feel like you belong.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pick the wrong brotherhood, you find yourself in jail or your life lost, because today you're guilty by association.
Yeah, you got to know yourself.
You gotta be careful. So who you call, the thing about it is that let's identify what a brother is. Because an acquaintance is not a brother. You know what I'm saying? A co-worker, it's not a brother. These are people that you get to know and meet passing through life.
Yep.
Right? The Word of God says, he stays closer than a brother. I mean, he's got to be somebody, brothers there, that person is going to be there. When all is said and done, who's still there with you? That's the one you call your brother.
That's how you pick.
It goes back to like what you were talking about earlier. What's your value system? Are you playing your values? The things that drive you, that make up who you are. Because my dad always taught me, you assimilate who you associate.
Yes.
You know, and so that caused me to be more aware and in tune. Who am I? What do I value most, and what do I not value? So when I meet people, men, we appreciate, we respect each other, we dab each other up. But like, I understand like, what do I need in my life that's going to get me to the next level where I need to go?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be around, men, spending a lot of my time around men that aren't, don't have what I want, that, like, I'm in the phase of, like, marriage, like, looking at marriage and engagement and wanting to have kids. So what do I spend most of my time with? My friends that are not single in the clubs and things like that, they're currently going through, marriages, newly engaged or things like that, because I'm trying to glean what they already have.
Right.
Because that's where I'm going. But for a lot of men, especially when they're, in those teenage years, they need to be more in tune with what their values are. And I don't think a lot of people push them to sort of think about their core values. My students, I push them to do. That's one of the first exercises that we do is what are the top 5 core values? Like actually sit down, like write them down. Here's a list. Pick the top 5. Now tell me why these are your top 5. Because you assimilate who you associate.
That's
True.
And I think that also teaches people to learn how to trust themselves. That's where you learn that discernment of who do you call an associate, who do you call your friend. And when the situation has, extended past its time, or when you identify something that's no longer fitting, how do you move away from that still with love, and making it happen?
And just to kind of piggyback off of that, one thing that I have learned as I've grown up that I have also tried to implement with my son, I tell him everybody is not your friend. And one thing that we just talked about in our last episode, seasons change. So if you might have a friendship for a certain season, that person is there to help you in that season. Don't try to extend it. Don't try to make it more than what it needs to be, because he's at that stage also, because he's very outgoing. So everybody is like, loves him. Oh, he's my friend. And I'm like, you have to really differentiate your associates from your friends. And people will call me mean, again, because like my nickname is also Lo, but not everybody gets to call me Lo. And so I had an occasion, and it was at church, where, a guy was like, asking me what my name was. I don't have a problem with saying my real name on air. So I was like, my name's Lauren. And he was like, okay, nice to meet you. What's your street name? And I said, my street name is Lo. He was like, can I call you Lo? I said, no, you're not my friend. I was like, I reserve that for my friends. And he was like, oh,
you
dang.
like that, buddy.
Right. And I'm like, no, that's real. I was like, I'm just meeting you. So you don't get that privilege. So, that's something that I'm really trying to put in my son's head. Like, don't think everybody is your friend, because they're not going to treat you the same way that you're treating everybody else. So I don't want you to end up being hurt, and again, having to carry this burden, thinking that you did something wrong, knowing that their, motives may have been different from the beginning. So it's definitely one of those conversations that I know he calls me like a robot, and he's like, you keep telling me the same thing over and over, and I'm like, I know I get on your nerves. I know I do. I'm not sorry for it, because I'm trying to help you as you get older realize these things that are happening.
Well, on that note, we're going to go to commercial. Stay tuned for more. And welcome back to Girl What Podcast. I'm Esther Jade.
And I'm Lomaine.
And we are in our third and final segment of the group chat got deep. And oh my gosh, I wish we had so much more time. But like, we're going to have some extras on YouTube. So check out our YouTube. So we're going to jump into Name It So You Can Heal It. But first, let's reverse it back to our last one so we can ask a question from our Love Baby and Other Grown Folks. What does a repair conversation sound like between partners or friends?
Straightforward accountability.
Love it.
I mean, all right, so I say this thing where I'm like, I live in absolutes. Like, what you show me is like what it is, but I also respect the sovereignty of your personhood. So if that's what you want to,
that's really important.
Okay, bro. Like, but people say, for every action there's a reaction, right? We are freedom of speech, but you're not freedom of consequence. I feel like all those things sort of play a role in repair, right? You have to be able to see it, understand it, why I felt like that, why you felt like that, was there a boundary crossed? Like, all that communication matters. It's also the reason why I'm never afraid to talk. I'm just gonna
love that.
say it.
When I first heard the question, I'm like, there's layers to it.
Yeah.
Because tone and heart posture make a difference. Just because you can be direct with it doesn't mean it can be actually received and heard. Because you got to remember, when you're talking to anybody, you have to always assume you're talking to their inner child.
Oh, that's good.
And so when you're talking to them, you have to remember that, like, when it comes to conflict, not everyone engages in conflict in the way that you may, because like how we communicate is how we prefer to receive it. And also it's how we've learned it based on how we've been raised in the environment and household. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good environment of how we were raised in it or experienced it, or bad. It's just more so it's different. So you have to go into repair with stating, this is my heart posture. Look, this is what I've noticed. I know you. You're better than that. Talk to me. What's really going on in your head? What's really going on? Because this is what is hurting you from getting to where I know you want to go and where you've said. And I think for a lot of people, it's a balance of the directness, but also softness and tenderness too, especially for men. Because I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to feedback, we often hear it initially as criticism, because that's how we've experienced how masculinity is perceived in the world, is through the lens of criticism of like, you got to be perfect. You don't have a space to melt. You don't have room to just be broken. You have to come in flawless. And so I think there has to be an awareness of, I'm speaking to the inner child of this man.
That's good.
I'm speaking to the inner child of this woman, because I think a lot of men learn how to do that better when they're talking to female friends or partners, because they've watched it with their mothers. But when there's not a man in the house for people to learn, how do you talk to a man in this way to hold him accountable? How has he learned how to be accountable and be held accountable and talk to directly? How does that impact him? Sometimes it starts with, what's my heart posture? What's my intent? And saying that out loud, because we can't assume that your intent's good, even if we care about you. Like my partner, I told her all the time, like, look, I know in my heart, I know you care, but how it's communicated to me is not how I can perceive it. It's not saying that what you're saying is wrong, but like how it registers in my head is that this is pure criticism and that I'm not enough.
That's good. Talk about it. I like heart posture.
Yeah.
America, you seem like you want to impart some wisdom on us.
Dancing all over. I love it. One of the things that I learned that I found to be the most effective in reaching any man is exactly what you said. I allow the hurt little man in me talk to the hurt little man in you. Oh man, now you guys are gonna mess me up. Because the grown up man is protecting that little man. But that little man is still running things. You know what I'm saying? Because of his insecurity, because his need to always be looking for validation, always looking for approval. I noticed that it came up a lot in my life that I was always looking for approval, and so I end up getting approval from the wrong men, from the wrong women, right? And trying to get their approval. And so I don't get, so this way I don't feel abandoned. So I felt abandoned as a kid.
There it is.
You know? So all that stuff comes up
Right.
in our adult life. Thank you, sir. In our adult life, you know? But we learn to wrap it around with the masculinity. And so that masculinity becomes internally toxic because now what we're doing is now we are protecting that little man. So I'm gonna hurt you because I'm gonna let you hurt me, hurt my little man.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? So this becomes a cycle. You know, and when I was in therapy, in therapy, black and brown community, they still have not embraced the need for it.
Yeah.
So, but the most important thing that happened is one time I was in therapy, the therapist had me write a letter from the grown-up America to the little man. So the little man is called Junito. In Spanish, Junito is junior, little junior. And so she had me write a letter to my little man. I couldn't write it.
Yeah.
I couldn't write it. I just couldn't write it. I eventually got to write it, but it took a whole lot more strength than I thought it would. Because I suppressed so much. For me to write it, I had to bring it up. And I didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, you know, so I'm going to be a little, I'm being a little transparent here. You know, I was sexually molested as a young man by my father's good friend, and I always thought it was a nightmare that never really happened until I found out that it really did happen. So my mind got blown.
Yeah.
You know, I found out there's so much more young men out there. But they're quick to help a lady under that same situation, and they absolutely will ignore the young man with that same situation. There is no help and support in that area for the young man. Oh, there's plenty for the young ladies. That happen to young ladies, the court system, everything. But first of all, the shame. The man is not going to say, the young man ain't going to say anything because he's embarrassed, right? And so the support system is not there. So you hold that, you suppress that. But that is still part of you.
Right.
You never, and unless you take active measures for healing and deliverance in that area, you carry that for life.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, man.
Yeah, but this is what they're dealing with, especially in today's modern world. Stuff that's happening. This generation needs real men to shepherd these young men and help them, find their true identity and know my core values. That was really good. Because if you don't value me, you will never be in me.
And it starts with self. If you can't tell people to value you if you don't value yourself.
That's the biggest thing.
And so I think that's what causes us to almost fall for everything.
Right.
Because we won't stand for something for ourselves.
Know yourself.
Thank you for sharing that, Americo. You want to ask the next
Yes,
question?
I was going to say thank you so much for the vulnerable moment. So just kind of going on with the next question. What are some moves that men can make this week to address loneliness, depression, stress, and disconnection?
Find something that makes you smile. I mean, whether it's a hobby, whether it's, like getting into something, like find there's something that makes you smile. I think that's a really good start. I mean, I don't have like the professional point of view, but like just from like baseline,
Yeah.
smile about
Small
something.
wins.
Find joy.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
And put it on your calendar.
That's good.
But like, I have to intentionally block off time for me to enjoy or like know what day. Like my Friday evenings, like that's if it's not a date night for me and my girl, then it's self care for me, and that self care could be like we're playing video games. I love playing video games. That's when I could like I have ADHD, so that's why I could like just get lost in. Boom. I love watching movies and TV shows. I love to cook. You know, and so it's you have to intentionally block off time for those things you enjoy. But on top of that, pull a brother that you trust into that space with you. Like me and my boys, we watched the FIFA game yesterday. We went over to that one of the guys' house and we just hung out. And sometimes you have to like really just schedule that stuff in, especially as you get older, you get busier, you have more responsibility. You have to be intentional to hold that space for that like enjoyment time.
Yeah.
And communicate that to your partner.
Another thing I think just for everyone is to learn what quality sleep looks like. And when I say quality sleep, I mean laying down and closing your eyes. And when you still wake up in the morning, you feel like you haven't slept at all. That is not quality sleep.
Yeah.
Learning what a routine looks like to regulate your nervous system and to calm your body down. So when you actually lay down to close your eyes, you are able to rest. Your body can recharge. I think that's one of the most missed things because we hustling. We're getting to it however we can. And sometimes putting ourselves last and sleep is like, oh, I could take 5 hours. I could take 4 hours. I'm good. No, get some sleep.
Yep. I'd like to encourage, I got some moves that people can make. So move 1 is the consistency play. We kind of touched on that. 1, standing weekly link up. And then move 2, the 2 friend rule, identify 2 men for honest check-ins. And move 3, the 3rd place plan, join a reoccurring community space. That could be a gym class, it could be league, it could be volunteering, it could be a faith group, it could be mutual aid, etc. So that's just some of the examples I came up with that could benefit any of our listeners. Oh my gosh, this has been such a great episode. I think we have time for one more question. What can men do when they want to shut down?
When they want to shut down?
Mm-hmm.
What's helped me? I'm always going to speak about God. That's my number one source. When I've been through battle depression, when I've been through the worst season of my life, like that's been the first place where I could like kneel into, go into the Word and find me. So, and if you feel like you don't have that for you, get around men that do. So go to your local church, place of worship. Get around men that maybe you feel like are in that journey a bit stronger. I think that is one thing I would highly recommend, having a source you can go to when you don't physically and spiritually feel strong enough. That's a good place to go.
That's my number 1.
Yeah, that's real good. What keeps me, from spiraling is that my calendar is very intentional. I clearly have put in my calendar, this is a time of reflection. This is the time I have dinner with my honey. This is the time I'm going to do my research and studies. This is the time that I'm going to learn something new. You know what I'm saying? And this is the time I'm going to reach out to somebody. My whole week is that repeated, because I know when it gets, because, we can get pretty down on ourselves. We can beat ourselves pretty good and find ourselves, just, hugging on the pillow on the bed, like, I don't want to get up.
Right.
But, when you know that, you just need to keep moving. One thing I tell a lot of these young men, I tell them a lot, and I tell them, I said, how would you fight if you knew the fight was fixed?
Fixed against me?
Huh?
Fixed against me? Or?
No, fixed. The fight is fixed. So what if I tell you that I'm going to put you in the ring with Mike Tyson?
Wait a minute.
Right? And Mike Tyson at his prime. But whatever happens, you win at the end.
I'm like, bet.
I'm gonna get my shots in, even though I might get knocked out. But either way,
but you gonna win.
I tell him, I says, if you have the mindset that as long as you don't give up, you're going to win. There's nothing that can hold you back.
That's good.
On that note, we're going to say something for the YouTube extras, all right? But we're going to go into That's It. Oh my God, this episode 14 of season 2, bruh, are you good? Is, oh my God, it's so energizing. I thank you so much for each and every one of you guys coming on here, because I know that someone out there really needs to hear what you guys are saying. And you know, we I don't want anybody to think that our channel is, or our platform is, you know, bashing. We are literally about community and showing love and showing how to self-love, and this is one way of doing it. So on That's It, we talked about what's the tea, sis? Are men lonely? We started off with I got a little ahead of myself introducing the guests before I started doing the September celebrations, but with our guests, we unpacked what male loneliness looked like in everyday life and online, named the pressures that hit hardest, explored what men share openly versus what they only hint at, and also gave listeners a simple line a man can use when he needs help and wants to ask for with confidence. The second segment, we Baby Love and Other Grownfolx Business. We were men healing together. We discussed how loneliness shapes decisions and how brotherhood changes the way a man shows up in relationships. We also named the real supports dad need or men need, and practice what a repair conversation sounds like, whether it's with friends or in a relationship or family member. You know, choose honesty, care, and the next right step. And on our final one, we went into, for the group chat that got deep, name it so you can heal it. Our guests, our wonderful guests, guided us through a real conversation about how a man can spot the difference between feeling off and needing support right now. And they shared ways men can stay present when pressures push them towards shutdown. And we also had a lot of tender personal vulnerability. And I really do, again, thank you in each and every one of you for coming on. And that's it for Girl What Podcast. We'll see you next Saturday.
Bye. Stay connected to Girl What Podcast by following us online. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Girl What Podcast. That's GURLWHET We'd love to keep in touch with you. Come on, keep talking with us. That's what we do, right? So we have our, reflections. If you have any questions, comments, or you yourself want to reflect on anything you've heard us talk about, please don't be afraid to hit us up. Again, you can hit us up in our DMs on Instagram, or if you want to comment under one of our YouTube posts, you're more than welcome to do so. Again, both of those handles are Girl What Podcast, GURLWHETPODCAST.
And you also have the option to leave us a voice memo in our DMs, or leave us a voice message at 804-476-0905. Again, that number is 804-476-0905. And with your permission, we may feature it in a future episode. Your voice helps us shape meaningful dialogue on Girl What. So remember to stay in community. Remember to stay bold. And girl, keep talking.